Hello, in this video we are going to design the GitHub's Navbar using Tailwind CSS. Hopefully I can show you how easy it is to design user interfaces using Tailwind, using your utility workflow, you know. So here I have a simple setup for a Tailwind project. I'm also using browser sync. So whenever I add something and save, the browser will reload itself. So let's get started. So it looks like we have a flex layout here with the two items, one on the left hand side, one on the right. So let's try to design that. So I'll create a nav element and let's add some background. Looks like it's gray 800, and let's add some padding. Let's see how that looks. Okay, uh, maybe a bit darker, 900. Okay, and I'll make it flex. And inside here I have two divs. First is for the left hand side and the second is for the right hand side. And let's change the text to white so we can see them. And if I save, you can see flex items here. Now we want them to be justified between. So one shows up on the left, other shows on the right. As you can see, we have justify start, which is what we had before, then justify end, that makes both of them on the right, but we want justify between for our case. Okay, so now that we have that, let's start with the left hand side. So we have the logo, search input, and few links. So let's try to design that. First, it's the logo is a link, so we want an anchor tag like this. Then we'll just copy the SVG for this logo. So right click and copy element, and I'll just paste that here. Let's also format so it looks good. And if I save, you can see the logo is there, but we want the fill color to be white. So first let's get rid of the GitHub's classes. I don't need height and width because I'll use the Tailwind classes to add that. Let's start with the link. So let's add some classes to our icon. So we want it to be fill current, so it inherits the text color of its parent, which we don't have, so I add that text white, or maybe it needs on the body. I wonder why the color is not showing up. Oh, right, we got rid of the width and height, right? So that's why. So let's add some width, and if I save, yeah, there it is. So the way it's working is if I get rid of the fill current and save again, you see that's the original logo. Now if I use fill current, it will take the color of the link. So if I do text red 500, you can see it's fetching the color from the parent. So that's usually a good idea. So let's change it back to white. Okay, so we have our logo here. Now we want the second thing, which is let's also add a hover state, because I know they're using a hover and we don't have it right now. So let's add that. When we hover over it, we want text to change to, let's say, gray 600. Too dark. Yeah, let's make it 400. Yeah, that looks good to me. And yeah, so I think we are good for the logo. So let's close this guy. And then let's create a input tag, input type text, and we're going to use placeholder to be search or jump to. It shows up on the second line, so that makes me think this div is also going to be a flex. So let's change that or add that. We're going to make it flex so it shows up on the same line. Let's use item center so they're vertically centered, and we will instead of adding some left margin on the input, I will use the space utilities. So space x, let's say 3, because I know we also have the links. So instead of adding a left margin on each of them, we'll just use space x. So let's use space x 4. Okay, that looks good. So we have the input, and now before I design the input, let's so input's gonna be a bit tricky because we have this absolute slash here. So let's come back to it later. So I'll just wrap it inside a div, and let's move on to the links. So let's create another div for that, and in here we'll add our links. So let's add 4 links. First is for pulls, second is for issues, third is for marketplace, and fourth is for explore. And if I format, that looks good. So we have our links here. Now I would like to have these links flex too. So let's wrap them inside a div. All right, so let's make it flex, and let's add make it item center. Let's make font to be semi-bold, and we'll add some space utility. So let's space x2, and maybe 4. All right, so we have the links here, and yeah, I think we are good for the links. Maybe font needs to be a bit smaller, but we can worry about that later. Now let's go back to our input search or search input. So I would like to add a class here, and first I see it is rounded. So make it rounded large, maybe. Yeah. Then let's change its width to be 72. Yeah, that's reasonable. Let's add some padding, px4 maybe, py2, or px3. It's too tall, I think. Maybe let's change to py1. Okay, that looks good to me. Let's change the background to maybe VG gray 600 or 700. Okay, and let's reduce the font size, so text small. And we also want to change the text color of this input, that is the placeholder color. So we have Tailwind's placeholder utilities, so I can do placeholder. Let's do text gray 300. Okay, that looks good to me. And we want to add that slash icon on the right. So you know what we'll do is let's make this div a relative. So we can put absolutely positioned elements after this and position them separately. So let's add a div. And let's put top 0 and right 0. Okay, there it is. We need some margin. Yeah, margin 2. Actually, I forgot about this outer div. So the slash is wrapped in a div. So we need to add that too. So you know what we'll do? Let's add a div and move this guy inside it. Okay, let's try to add border here. Border. Let's see how that looks. Okay, and change the color of the border. Let's add some padding. Make the border rounded, and so it's at the top. I would like to be it to be centered. So maybe, yeah, that's where I'll use this guy. So this div. So let's make it flex, and we'll use items center. Huh. Or maybe we need height for this. No? Oh, right. We need to, right. I need to put the absolute element on the top now. Let's see. Okay, that's good. So you can see our item center is now working. So if I remove this, yeah, you can see it's positioned at the top. But if I add those two back, item center, it's at the center now. So that's good. So we have flex item center. Let's move it close to flex because usually they go together. Let's change the text color. So I'll do text gray 200, 400. Okay, yeah, that looks good to me. I think that's close enough. We can tweak it more, but I think that's good enough for now. So we have the logo, search input, and the links. So that's pretty reasonably good looking for me. So now let's move on to the right side. So I will just close this first div and we can go to the right side. Now I see this is also going to be a flex with item center because all three are vertically centered. So let's do that right off the bat. So class will be flex items center, and let's add some spacing, spacex 4 to be consistent, and let's add the text white. Okay, now let's see what's in there. So we have the first bell icon. So if I inspect that and just copy the element, it's going to be a link as well. So let's add that. Sometimes this bell icon has notifications too, so we'll add that too, just like this guy, this blue dot. So for that, let's change the link to relative so we can absolutely position the blue dot. And if I hover over it, it's changing the text color. So let's do that. Hover text gray 400. You can see the bell is there, but we need to change its style. So let's remove the height, width classes and add our own classes. Width will be 5 and let's change the fill to current. Okay, and it's also getting the hover. That's good. Now let's add a notification dot for that. So I'll minimize the SVG and let's add a div for that. And let's just mimic this dot here. So it looks like it's background blue 600 and it's rounded full. Let's do width and height. That looks good to me. And we want to position it at the top right. So let's make it absolute. And top 0, right 0. Let's move on to the plus icon now. So let's close this first link and let's try to find the SVG for the plus icon. So I'll copy that. And it's a link to. And if I save, again, let's get rid of the height, width, and the classes. And I will use the same as the above. So let's use width 5 and fill current. Okay, that's good enough. And actually, because these are two elements nested close to each other, I think it's gonna be a flex. So let's make this anchor tag flex. We want another SVG for the drop down caret. So I don't know, they don't have it, I think. Oh, let's just go to hero icons. I don't know how GitHub is doing that because I don't see an SVG here. Maybe we can just grab a caret from the hero icons. So copy SVG, and I'll just come here, and after this SVG, so this is the plus icon, and we want our caret. So let's see. Oops, that's too big. Maybe 4. Or 3. And because we made our anchor flex, let's make items center so they are vertically centered. Yeah, that looks good to me. And let's just add some small changes. So we'll do fill current, so it's filled with the current color, and then also change the stroke to current. I don't think that changed anything, but let's just keep it there. Yeah, that's good. Oh right, I need to get rid of this fill and this stroke. Okay, so there we have the second part. Now let's do the third, which is the profile. Oh, and I think we forgot the hover. So this needs a hover state too. So let's text gray 400. So we can do hover over it. All right, so that's the second part. Now let's do the final piece, which is the profile picture, and it's gonna be pretty similar. So what I'll do is, never mind, I was gonna copy the whole thing, but let's just keep it simple. So hash, and then I'll need a class. So again, you can see we have the caret here as well. So let's do the same trick we have above. Item center and our text gray 400. All right, and because it has a notification, we are going to copy our previous trick, which is making it relative. You know what? I'll come back to it later. Let's just focus on the profile picture for now. And let's use David's picture. Copy image address. And maybe have it saved. Yeah, right. I have it saved in the images directory. So let's add an image tag and images dhh dot jpeg. Let's see. Whoa, that's too big. Let's add a class and I'll make it width 4h4. Too small. Width 5h5. Okay, that looks good to me, and it needs to be rounded full. Yeah, that looks good enough for me. Let's do the notification. So we have a div, and I'll just copy what we had for the previous notification. Uh, let's see. Oops, it's at the top. Why? Oh, right, we didn't make it relative. So I guess we will have to make this relative, flex relative. Okay, there it is. So that looks good to me. And finally, we need the caret. And I'll just copy the caret from here. There it is. Does it need a left margin? Yeah, let's add that. So switchy class margin left to be fun. Oh, yeah, I think that looks good. Oh, right. We messed up the notification. So let's just add some right margin so it gets pushed to the left. Two, four. Yeah, that looks good. So I think we have it. It's not looking exactly what is there, but it seems pretty reasonable to me. Let's reduce the font size for everything. So text small, maybe. Yeah, I think that looks good. And we could also reduce the sizes of these icons, but I think that's enough for now. I hope you get the idea how to design like quickly with using Tailwind. And I hope that was useful. You learned something new. So let me know if this was helpful. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye now.